everyone, to Chick Chat. Today's guest is Anjl Rodee. Excited to talk to you about her. She is an artist, musician, and comic. It's quite a combo. She is the founder of BrushCapades, an online art studio that helps make art feel accessible and attainable for everyone. She's working on her first book, A is for Aneurysm. Okay. Very nice. Nice to welcome you here. Hi, Anjl. How are you?
Oh, I am so good. I'm super excited to be here.
Good. I'm so excited. I love just right now, so our audience knows, behind you is just a bunch of tubes of paint. And let me just tell you, as an architect and an artist, I'm already excited.
It's like living in a candy store. I love it
Right?
too.
Right. It looks great. Okay. So let's just, first of all, tell me how these different careers kind of what happened here? How did you begin this and what led you to this?
I feel like almost every career I did go to school, but I feel like almost every career I've had was just, oh, that sounds like fun. Oh, that I would like to do that. They've all kind of happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the art goes, I was the kid in the second grade who helped my teacher decorate the bulletin board. So that was just kind of a given. I thought that I would be designing greeting cards when I grew up. That was one dream besides the dioramas at the museum. Those were my two dreams when I was a kid.
Okay.
kind of started a band with my brother when we were kids, and so that's how the music thing happened. And comedy, I kind of fell into that too. The class clown, that was also always me, but started doing it professionally in 2012 when I joined Comedy Sports, which is comedy played as if it's a sport. It's like Whose Line Is It Anyway, with two teams and a referee.
Oh, right.
So there's
Okay.
that.
Yes.
And I also do some stand-up-y things. That also involves the music. Kind of everything is kind of like, oh, that looks enjoyable. I'm going to go do that now. It's been
Right.
that kind of
Okay.
a life. I'm so lucky.
That's so funny. On my profile, I think on Instagram or somewhere, and I think on, well, my previous podcast, I would say it too. I think the name is more suited to you. It's just Creative Junkie, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm stealing that. Put that
Okay,
right in my pocket.
right? Because I've
Yes.
used that, but boy, you take that to a really fun, whole different level. Yes. Okay. So, and isn't doing the comic stuff frightening, or did you not ever feel that way?
No, and maybe it's because I started as a musician at age 14. I lost the stage fright a long time ago, and I think that is
Oh,
the thing that
nice.
really keeps people from trying to do comedy. Really, comedy is really just the gift of timing. It's a lot of chess like timing,
Mm-hmm.
but that it's intuitive as well. And if you just
Yeah.
really enjoy making people laugh, and you're strong enough to poke a little fun at yourself, everybody can relate to that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I'd be scared out of my mind. But yeah,
Everyone
I'm
says that,
great.
but
Public speaking, I can do that like with my eyes closed.
when
But
you think about it, though,
comedy, no thanks.
we are improving this conversation right now. You don't know what I'm going to say
Completely.
next. I don't know what you're going to say, and that's really all that
Oh,
improv
that's
is.
true.
With just kind of aiming toward wrapping it up at the end.
Yes.
Bringing a story full circle, kind of like a movie does, with an arc and a happily ever
Right.
after.
That's true. Now, I did read that you have said that it saved your business. The improv
Mm.
saved your
hmm
business.
hmm
Let's just tangent onto that for a moment. Tell us
Let's
about
do
that.
that. Hashtag pandemic. Uh,
Oh God,
um,
right? Oh,
I was doing my business in person with in-person events, and the pandemic kind of shut that all down. And
Yep.
then I thought, well, okay, what can I do now? Or can I keep doing this? If I'm going to do it with people in their homes, how do I do that? And my first thought was, I will assemble kits of art to send to people. So I was buying easels from here, brushes from that guy, and I bought little Freezy Pop Ziploc bags, and I was pouring paint into these. It
Oh
was a
my goodness.
very messy process,
So
but
this is because the improv, you stopped
the
doing
improv.
that. I see. So you stopped
Yes.
doing that during the pandemic, and that's what got you into this whole art
No,
creation.
the both were a thing during the pandemic,
Oh,
but the
okay. Okay.
improv helped me go, okay, well, this is my new reality. What am I going to do? That's the yes and kind of
I
thing of improv,
see.
right? Yeah. So
Yes, got it.
yes,
Okay.
I'm homebound, and what can I do now? Instead of just thinking, well, the way I operated before is no longer a thing. I'm going to sit home and wait out the pandemic.
So true. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, I think first started with that mindset, like I'll just
Yes.
wait it out. And then we're
Yes.
like, okay, I can't do this because everybody had to pivot somehow,
Yes.
to
Yeah.
accommodate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now tell me, first, why don't we go ahead into your business, that you do now, the
Yes.
BrushCapades. Tell me about that.
BrushCapades. Yeah. In 2014, I was a freelance illustrator, but mainly I was designing paper plates for a living. You may have eaten off my
Mhm.
work. And
Okay. Possibly. What
and
do they look like? Remind me. So
they're not the ones with the little blue flowers. The Dixie.
okay.
That's a curse word in my business.
Okay.
They're really beautiful. I specialize in warehouse club sales, so the really pretty ones you find in packs of 75 and 150 at Costco,
Yes.
Sam's Club, Walmart's big club
Oh, wow.
warehouse
Uh-huh.
sales. So not
Okay.
a lot of people do that. So there is a good chance you've eaten off my work.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay.
And I first heard of paint night, and I thought, as an illustrator and a comic, I am so uniquely qualified to do that. I am going to call paint night and let them know. And they said,
Yeah.
fantastic, you can do it on Tuesday nights at this bar. And I thought, I'm just going to buy easels. So I started the business having never attended. Again, here's where the improv thing I think kind of came
Right.
in. I'm like, what do I need? Enough easels for everyone, people to practice on. So I invited 24 friends, coworkers, clients, and practiced on them, and then put out a shingle, and that's how I started. And I started in Seattle, which is home base to Amazon, Microsoft,
Right.
Google has a base there, a big base, and all these other really big companies. So while I was doing the Funzy classes on weekends, people were like, I want to bring my team here on during the week. Do you do corporate events? Yes, I do. So
No, but I will. We'll talk
exactly.
about it later, but it sounds like I do now. Yeah.
Yes,
Good, good,
exactly
good. I
that.
love that. Love
Yeah,
that
yeah.
attitude. Yeah.
And as people
So,
started coming in, I noticed that they're coming in like this, especially for work events, for
mhm.
party events. Everybody knows that they're coming, and they know what they're coming into. They're going to have a little wine and paint something cool. But for work events, that's maybe not your first choice of events to do. So a lot of people were coming
Mhm.
in like, don't expect much out of me. My third grade teacher told me I will never be an artist. I can only draw stick people. My sister got all the talent. All of
Right.
these
Yeah.
blocks. And I quickly realized those aren't really a thing. And I think I need to help people see that those aren't really a thing. So that's kind of the main thing that I do. I kind of TED talk them on creativity while I'm teaching them how to paint a thing. And I feel like that's the most important part of
I
what
think
I
you're so
do.
right. I think people
Yeah.
are so afraid. I know I've seen it myself. I've seen it I've taken some of those kind of classes
Hmm.
years ago
Hmm.
and even with some kids are also like, which you would think they would just be open to all of it. They
Yeah,
usually don't have that, kind of self-consciousness about it. But you're right. People think either, oh gosh, no, I'm not good at this. And it's almost like they're embarrassed by the work that they do throw out
exactly.
on that canvas.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
all at
Yeah.
age 6 is the end of
Really?
people thinking I'm an artist. If you ask 106-year-olds who's an artist,
Really?
100 hands go up. By age 7, that cuts in half. By age
Oh my
8, down to a
goodness.
quarter, and it just goes down from there. Even people, I will admit to you, even me, when I have to fill out a thing that asks for my
Yeah.
occupation, the word artist is a super lofty word to own. It
I so
just
agree. I
it's
know.
yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But we
Interesting.
all are. We're the
Yeah.
only living creature that creates, that makes things out of nothing just to do it. And it's inherent to what we are. Doing that stuff helps with anxiety and depression and sleeplessness. It's stuff we should be
Yeah.
doing.
Let's talk about that. The benefits are
Right.
huge, right?
Yeah.
So,
Huge.
right. So
When
you do tell us a little, like, yeah, I definitely know that it's great for depression. What other things then?
anxiety, when you are doing a manual thing like that, the painting, your brain doesn't have space to worry. And that's third
Mm-hmm.
level thinking that your brain doesn't have the space to do. You don't even have to think about shutting your brain off. When I try to meditate, I spend 15 minutes just trying to shut off the to-do list,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's hard. But I can paint for 2 hours, and it goes by like that. That
Doesn't it?
is
Yep.
the
Yep. Yep.
meditative brings anxiety down quality of doing art.
Yes.
Sleeplessness, same thing. It helps you, just your brain just helps get you in the zone before you even get in the bed. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. That's
Cave
fantastic.
art,
It's so true.
yeah, cave art is 50,000 years old. We have cave art that is 50,000 years old, and proof of uh, agriculture, less than 10,000 years old. It has been more important for us as a creature
Wow.
to express ourselves than to eat on the regular. I find that
Wow, that's
fascinating.
amazing. Yeah, very fascinating. I didn't know that.
Hmm.
Um, wow. And
And
so,
we've
yeah,
only been selling art to each other for less than 500 years. That's a blip. That's a blip in time, but that's the
really.
marker that we use. If I'm not good enough to sell it, then I shouldn't be doing it. And it's such a blip in time that we have been selling art
Hmm.
to each other. And that's my narrative. That's the thing I'm trying to tell people. Do this because it's good for you, not because you're good at it, because you'll get good at it. Because art is like
Right,
yoga.
exactly.
You're
It
better
is.
on day
I think you're
800
right.
than
It
you are
just
on day one.
takes Right. It just takes a ton of, yeah, just experience doing it over and over again, the repetition. You paint and then you go, oh, I didn't like how I did that. Then you start to kind of modify without even
Yes.
thinking about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
But no one got fired. And it
Right.
felt good doing it. It felt good doing
Yes.
it. And it's a great place too to practice a little self-kindness, a little, I nailed that. That's not the window I was
Yes.
hoping for, but I nailed it. The window was
Right.
painted, you know. It's a great place to
Yeah. And
turn around that
I
self-talk.
think, you mentioned you do watercolor and acrylic. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, watercolor still for me can get frustrating. Acrylic, I
Same.
love that just gesso over it and start again. I
Yes.
mean,
Wait 2
whatever.
minutes. It's dry.
It's
Paint it
dry. And
again.
then, yep, yep, I know, which I do think helps people like get over that, like just panic or fear of like the brush with paint hitting that canvas. And, oh,
Yes.
how do
Yes.
you help them get over the anxiety of that?
One brushstroke at a time. This is how I start a
Mm-hmm.
class. I say the first thing we're going to do is draw. Bonus activity, and people, I sit deer in the headlights, and then I
Totally right
have
with
them put
drawing.
the
Mm-hmm.
horizon line in the middle of the canvas, and then I say, "We're done drawing. We're nailing this." And people are
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's
okay,
good.
I can do that.
I'm
Okay."
good. I can do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we paint
Yeah.
half of the canvas blue for the sky and the other half green for the ground. Okay, I got this. I can do that. So a little bit of confidence built up with everyone. We don't paint anything crazy. It's
Yeah.
nothing you didn't know how to do and you learned how to write your name. It's just a
Right.
confidence level with the tool, which only comes from doing it and playing with it.
Right. Because you're right. Because it is tools and how to use the tools. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is if you were to break it down. Yeah. And I know for me, I don't know, most people on here may not even know. They know I'm an architect, I think, unless you're new to the show. But most do know that I've been an architect for like 30 some years. But has always been a part of my life.
Mm.
And there have been times I was less confident than others in it. And it can be so stifling because if you're like so afraid of the outcome of it, yeah, you just don't even want to begin the process.
Isn't that a
Right.
great
But if
life
you can,
lesson too, though?
so
It's such a
true.
great
Yeah. Yeah.
microcosm for life. It's like, oh, I didn't know I could do this thing, and I just did this thing. And
Exactly. And
yeah,
so if you take away the outcome of it, I think if you try to go, it's okay. It's just a process. Like I'm just going to enjoy the process. And it is one of those things. If you do that, you're right. Like hours go by. I do this a
yeah.
lot on the weekends. I'll paint and it's like hours will go by. My husband's like, are you done in there, Picasso? I'm like, what time is it? Yeah. Yeah. So it's good for you. Absolutely. So
Yes.
when you do corporate events,
Hmm.
kind of how and why, where do they even, I mean, I think it's amazing and I know the value of it, but how do these corporations know the value of it or what are they seeking really for their employees?
I it can be a few different things. Sometimes it is a team builder with remote teams. They don't know each other very well.
Oh, okay.
So
Uh-huh.
I try to steer the chat toward what creative things does everybody do, and everybody does something. Might be gardening, might be cooking, but if
Yep.
creative thing is making something out of nothing, well, that pot roast wasn't there before, and that flower
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there before you planted the stuff. So that all counts as creativity. And then people start thinking about other things that they do. Oh, I crochet. I crochet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Or
counts. That's a
scrapbook
thing. And
or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it's so
Interesting.
interesting to have them see a little bit more pieces into their coworkers' lives and things, and gives them other things to talk about. and some so
Is
that's
that done typically by Zoom? Then do you do most of
mm,
the classes?
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you do in person as well, or not, or is it mostly
I
Zoom?
do, but I just relocated to back to my hometown in the Midwest from Seattle.
Hmm.
And I'm known there because
Hmm.
I was there for 14 years. And so for bigger events, I will go back and do in person. I just did one for 50 people um, last month, and so I will go back and do them there. I would like to build up the in person here. I just haven't yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, and it's
yeah,
harder. And I think so many things are, I mean, you're definitely available then to the entire world if you're doing it virtually, as opposed to
exactly.
those in your town. And that's it. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's,
I
yeah.
love to brag about the fact that I do teach people all over the world. And sometimes it means I get up at 3 a.m. to teach a class to people in Tokyo or teach at
Really?
10 p.m. because the people are in Ireland. And I live alone with a cat who ignores me, and it's really fun to
Perfect then.
brag about it.
And they all speak English on this, or do they not really? Is there
I
not? How does that work? Like, let's say with the
they for the
Tokyo.
most part they're all English speaking. I did one time have a company ask me, do you mind speaking teaching a Spanish speaking class? I'm like, not at all. And later I thought, I don't speak Spanish. What am I thinking? So before
Oh,
they signed on, I had Google all hooked up, Google Translate, so I could say something
oh,
and the phone would translate it for me. But I practiced in person saying, hi, my name is Angel. I'll be teaching this class using Google Translate. And I'm
nice.
practicing the sentence out loud 10 minutes before the class started. Hola, mi amo Angel. And all of a sudden, after one time I repeated it, I heard a voice go, okay. Oh, somebody had
Oh, were
signed
they
on.
already on there? Oh, that's hysterical. Like, oops,
So I
okay.
apologized, and they said, we speak enough. And I said, okay.
Oh, that's good.
And
Oh my
but
gosh.
that was a drawing class, not a painting class. And so it's just, as you know, houses are mostly rectangles and squares. And you put
Hmm.
enough of them
Hmm.
together and you've got a lovely structure. And then you're just teaching them
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
shading and stuff. And
right.
so yeah, we did a beautiful church in Chile,
Oh,
and
how funny. In
everyone
Chile,
was, yeah, it was gorgeous. And
that's where my family is from.
really,
Hmm.
oh,
That's why I was like, oh, wow, why'd you mention Chile? Yeah, that's so crazy. And why
yeah.
you picked this church in Chile, something you had seen that you wanted them to draw, or?
Most of them were in Santiago,
Oh,
and
I
so that's
see.
why
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
so amazing.
And it was an
Wow. What
Amazon
a,
team. It was a team of
okay.
Amazon employees, and most of them were in Santiago, and they were very quiet during the whole class, which always makes me worry. Are my
Right.
jokes not landing? Or,
Oh
are they
gosh,
paying attention? Are
right.
they lost? And I kept saying, is everybody okay? And they'd send a thumbs up emoji. I'm like, oh, panic until the
Okay.
end. And they all held up their drawings and they were all amazing. And I
Oh,
was,
that is neat.
it's really a cool experience. Yeah.
That is very, very, oh, how interesting that it was Chile. That's just so
Yeah.
random. Okay, so when you just said that, it had me, I thought of something, a question I had. So when you're saying, do your jokes land? So
Mm,
I do a lot of public speaking.
mm,
I'm not a comedian by
mm.
any means, although my close friends might find me funny. My husband tells me I'm barely, no, I mean, he doesn't. He's just always like, he's just so bad. Like he won't totally, he's really funny, but he won't totally laugh until I go, oh my God, I said, that was so funny what I said. He's like, I was waiting for you to call it out. And I'm like, that's terrible. Good Lord. But I hate that. But yeah, what happens? What do you do? Any advice? What do you do when you do kind of make a joke and it falls flat? Do you just continue? What is your advice on that? I'm
Sometimes I
curious.
continue. Sometimes I blame coffee. Sometimes,
Okay. That's
some
good.
exterior
Yeah.
thing like, oh my gosh, I have had so much coffee
Yeah.
that,
Okay. That's good.
yes, yes. And
That's a
then all
good
it's usually
one.
work. People go, okay, okay, she's had a coffee. And
Yeah.
usually that works. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's funny. Oh my goodness. So what do you have people like drawing or painting when usually I did see I think it may have been your website. People had drawn an octopus and it's
Mm,
so cute to see and they were all holding up their canvas and it's
yes.
so great because you can even though they're using pretty much the same color palette but they all looked kind of just slightly different, their own kind
Oh,
of expressiveness. Yeah,
and that is my
their own
aim. If all
expression.
of their, like I said, I have still never attended one of these things. I have no idea how they are supposed to go. But in my
Oh,
head,
okay.
if Van Gogh and Andy Warhol were both on this team, their paintings should still look like a Van Gogh and a Matisse, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So,
Yes.
I encourage, I tell them everything that I am saying is a suggestion. If I say pink and you want to go blue, do it. If paint hits the canvas, you have nailed the activity. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's always a disclaimer.
Nice.
And usually once there's enough paint on the canvas, and the first thing that I have them do is get rid of the white of the canvas, because that is so daunting, isn't it? Because you
It's
can
very
always,
daunting.
yes.
Yes.
So we get rid of the white. And once that's done, that's already where people are questioning their skills because theirs doesn't look like mine. So I make everybody turn their canvas up at that point so everybody can see. And then everybody starts doing this. Oh my gosh, I love your sky. I love what you did with the, oh my gosh, your water looks so cool. And they
Oh,
start
cute. Yeah.
throwing compliments at each other. And
Mm-hmm.
then I say, do you notice how your brain genuinely finds something to celebrate about everybody else's until you get back to your own? Mine sucks, but everybody else has something so creative. And
So true. People do that. You're
and then
absolutely right.
I
Yes.
like to say, and this, because this actually happened, my mom says I don't have a left lobe in my brain, and that I probably qualify for handicap parking. I'm looking into it, but I know that
Yeah.
math doesn't work out. If we're all thinking ours is the only sucky one, then that can't be
Right.
a
And how can
truism.
that be? Yeah.
That builds a little bit of like, okay, I got this, and I
Yeah.
might
That's a
not
great,
see it yet, but I
yeah.
got this. And my style is to paint the darks and then paint the lights on top of that. So everybody's painting looks a little wonky till we get to the last 20 minutes.
Always. Yeah.
And that's when I
Yeah.
really hear people go, oh my gosh, oh, I love this. Oh my
Right.
God,
I know
they
it.
start getting
Yep.
excited about their own thing.
I heard one, this is years ago, but it had stuck with me. Some artist described that, you have to be okay with the ugly before you get to making it look good, because it's going to be ugly for a little while.
Yeah.
Usually as and that is the best way, is to put the
Yeah.
light at the very end, kind of,
Yeah.
on top of the other. But, yeah, that is interesting. You do. And usually people will like get to that ugly stage, right? Where it's just, you're
Yes.
just beginning it. And then they freak out and they're like, I'm not good at this. I'm done.
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, very
exactly.
true.
Sticking it out, so important. And I had a songwriting coach once who said to me, you have to write, excuse me, 100 bad songs to get to the one good song. And painting is kind of like that too. Not that
Kind
you
of
have
like
to make
that.
100 bad ones, but
No.
you have to be okay with the fact that
Yep.
it's all, nobody started painting. Michelangelo did not start painting, and then there was the Sistine Chapel. That's just
Exactly. Right.
just not how it
You
works.
slowly get better at
Yeah.
things, which is so true. Yeah. Like now, maybe the sky was hard at first. Now it looks stunning because you've done it 100 times. Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, do you find that um, who is who typically is drawn to this? Of course, the corporate ones are kind of like required to go, but who typically is it? Children, men, women? What do you find that is most eager to delve into their creative side?
Super interesting question. I find that it's mostly women who sign up,
Mm-hmm.
but when they bring a date, their men are the ones who I don't know if it's because they're naturally more competitive, but they are in it to win it. They are in
Oh,
it
of
to
course.
make it look good. They're less
Yes.
okay with it just being like, look, I did a thing. There's like,
Right. Yes. That's really interesting. We talk a lot on this podcast, and kind of in our community or sisterhood here, of just the differences between men and women. And I firmly believe we are not the same. I don't think we
Yeah.
want to be the same, in
No.
my opinion. It's not the same opinion out there in the world right now, but I, feminine and masculine energy, we all have both of them. But I find that, because I think it's because the feminine energy, which for most women is most aligned with their kind of soul,
Yes.
is so much more about creativity and nurturing, creating. I mean, that's what we do. So, and
Yes.
we have babies and we create. So, yeah, I think more than anything is so nurturing for that
Yes.
soul.
Yeah. And I think it's a
And
part
you're
of the
right. The
intuition
masculine
thing.
energy's competitive. The masculine energy comes in competitive. I'm going to make the best damn painting, and you're
Yes.
all going to see it.
They're the ones who try harder to make it look like
Yes.
mine. Right? To make it look
Okay.
like mine.
Yes.
Whereas women, and I think it is part of the intuition thing.
And you were just saying, yes.
They're more like intuitive about, I think I want this to be a little bit more curvy. I love pink.
Yes.
I'm going to put pink on the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
A
Oh,
little
that's
bit
so
more of that. Yeah.
interesting. And I
Going to
wonder
what you
if,
said before about men and women, the
hmm
equality thing, one of my
yeah,
favorite Winston Churchill quotes, and I think it applies to art as well as humanity. If two of you are exactly alike, then one of you is unnecessary.
that is so true. I think you're right. Oh my God, that is I love that. I might have to
you
write that one down.
you keep that
That's
one.
a,
I'm keeping Creative
okay, good.
Junkie. This has been an
There you go.
amazing podcast.
Yeah, right. There you go, everybody. Right. No, that is so true though.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, because I think the trend today of like, no genders, we're all the same, we're all exactly identical. I don't believe it. And I think there's a beauty in the two
Yeah.
energies that we all have, and that the
Yeah.
feminine energy is so creative. I
Yeah.
mean, I wonder, you made me think that what a great exercise for men really to get in touch with their feminine
Yes.
energy is to do this. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That would, how interesting. I had never thought of that, but a lot of people will ask me, um, women will ask me, I'm not that feminine. How do I get in touch with
Mm,
my feminine energy? And this is a great way, you know,
absolutely.
yeah, to
Tangible.
take a right tangible and take away the outcome. If you're going to make a fabulous painting, you're going to sell or not, who cares? Just, yeah, that's so
Mm.
true.
Yeah. When I
Very
started teaching these
interesting.
classes, I used to hold up an example of what we were going to finish with. I don't do that anymore so that people can let go of that and more of their intuition comes out. If I say, make
Ah,
this green, well, their green is going to be different than mine because they
I
don't have the
like
visual go
that.
like, I got to aim for that thing.
For
Mm-hmm.
that kind of shade of
Mm-hmm.
green or
Mm-hmm.
something, right? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now when you do you do your own painting and stuff yourself? Outside of teaching it, you've
Oh,
been painting and as an
I do.
artist.
I do. I don't
Hmm
have time to do a lot of it. Um,
Right. I hear you. Hmm
but you know what? I love urban sketching. Are you
Do you?
familiar?
Okay. Not, no, I mean, just
Oh, I'm
urban, just
such a
landscapes
fan.
or no.
Yeah, there was an artist in Seattle, Gabby Campanero, who worked for the Seattle Times, and years ago, he sent a blank sketchbook that he had put a couple of sketches in to a friend in New York City, and said, "Throw a couple of your own sketches, and then send it to another artist that you know, and let's keep that ball rolling." And on the last page, he had put his own name and address, and then he kind of forgot about it because like 3 years went by and it
Whoa.
showed up at his door with sketches from all over the world of people sketching
Oh
wherever they
my.
were. And
That's
it started
phenomenal.
this movement, urban sketching, and it's in
Urban
most major
sketching.
cities in the world. And when I travel, I seek out these groups to see if I can hang out with them. They usually get together on weekends and meet in a public spot and paint the public spot. And I just love it.
Oh my God,
That's
that's
where,
fantastic. I had never
yeah,
heard of that.
yeah, that's where I practice most of my watercolor skills because it is scary
Too.
because you
Yeah.
see every layer. You are right.
That's what, yeah. I mean, it's hit or miss for me with watercolors. Some of the watercolors I've done, I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. What just like came through me? This is amazing. And then others, I'm
Yes.
like, for God's sakes, where's the nearest trash can? I mean, yeah, acrylic's more forgiving. I've tried oil. I struggle a little bit. I just don't have the patience to wait forever for it to
Exactly.
dry.
That
Yeah.
same because yeah, I've
Yeah.
got the patience of a puppy. So oil is
Yeah.
hard for
I'm
me for that
close.
same reason. And I paint
Right.
in acrylic for my classes 90% of the time, so I feel really well versed in it and
hmm
I don't watercolor is where I'm currently feeling the most growth. So that is where
hmm
I've got sketches I love and sketches I do not love, and
hmm
I keep them in my sketchbook. And
Yes.
that is hard
Right.
for me to do because
Hard
people
to
want to
do,
look at
isn't
my
it?
sketchbook, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
skip past that one.
I want
But
to take that X-Acto and cut that page out so
mhm.
bad. I know. But you do learn from each one of them. But yeah, that's
Yes,
great that you're having that growth. Yeah, in watercolor, I find it to be the hardest of all because even oil, it's wet for so long. You can continue to change that thing if
yes,
it doesn't look the way you
right.
wanted it to. Yeah, I think the hardest is watercolor. But that is amazing, wonderful to see how you've taken this. I had never really done all this thinking about how it so benefits people who've never even done it. I mean, my experience has always been anyone painting is like really wanting to be an artist
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
you know, isn't just dabbling, but it's fantastic.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it.
yep.
That
For
is great.
for anyone, yeah.
Um, have you taught any kids classes?
I have. And
How are those?
uh the one of the classes that I always bring up was I did someone hired me to do a birthday party, and for I think they were 9-year-olds, maybe 8 or 9,
Hmm.
younger. And she had me come in, and when I got there, she said, we've decided that we'd like them all to do self-portraits. And I went, faces are hard. And
Hard.
oh
Hmm.
my
Very hard
gosh,
to
I'm
do.
like, this is gonna take forever. And I put all the material out, and the kids came in. I'm like, guys, we're painting self-portrait. And they're like, sweet. And they got to work. I didn't even open my mouth. They just went to work and painted their own faces. And I just walked around going, I love your
Really?
hair. I love how you did your eyes. I love, and
Wow.
they were just happy as clams. Kids are
Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know if
braver
you
than
could
we
do
are.
that one. Have you ever, yeah, because that one to be like, okay, adults, we're going to do a self-portrait. I think that would be
I've
panicky
taught
because then
those
they
classes too. And yeah, because
have you,
they
how
the
did those go?
dimensions, they're um here's how I teach that class. It's the one that I use as an example. The one I paint is Frida Kahlo. And so we painted just the dimensions of where eyes go, and it's more of a
Hmm.
stylized thing. And then I just have them put their own skin color, their own hairdo on it. And
Yeah,
then I walk
right,
around, and if they
right.
have questions about how to do it. So
Oh, that's good.
that is how I,
Because that adds that whole layer of like self-consciousness, not just about how you're painting, but about how you look, right? So then you're
yes,
like, oh my God, I love my painting, but I look so, as a person, I look ugly. So then I'm not happy with that, right? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you have to let go a lot of insecurities to do that.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
So we go stylized,
Super
and then I
interesting.
have them, paint flowers and hearts around
Hmm.
them, and it becomes an experience.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. So now, this has been such an interesting conversation. And then, how do people reach you? Let's say listeners are listening in, and they are going to want to do this. In fact, I'm definitely going to get a group together and do this with you. I think it would be so fun.
I just got
Um,
goosebumpy.
so tell me, how do they reach out to you then?
Fortunately for everyone, I love making up words, including my first name. It's Angel. It's pronounced Angel. It's a very phonetic spelling. I thought it was a genius idea when I was 14. And as a business owner, it makes me highly Googleable. So,
Right, that's true. That's true.
so Anjl is my first name.
Mhm.
My company is BrushCapades. I put two words together. Again, genius. But
I like it.
yes, so that is how you
It's
find me. Angel at
okay.
brushcapades.com. If you want to send me an email, brushcapades.com is the website.
Is the website to go
Yes.
look at. Okay, great. And I know you had mentioned too the importance of just humor before we kind of wrap up. I'd love to hear, yeah, what you think about that, whether it's at home with your partner, in the workplace. Yeah, go ahead.
Humor, it makes everything lighter. It just does, whether you're thinking about something really hard like art that you're not sure you want to do, or talking about a hard subject, or even just giving yourself grace. Humor is the fastest shortcutty way to get there. It's
Hmm.
I actually did a talk on the importance of humor in the workplace years ago, and I found all these stats. Like Forbes magazine did this study, and the number one trait people look for when hiring for their company is a sense of humor. And it's not something they put on the resume,
Really?
but something they pick up on in the interview, because people with a sense of humor, and sense of humor does not mean making fun of anyone else or even yourself. It's finding
Hmm.
light in the situation. That person's going to be a good problem solver. That person is
Mm.
likely going to use their intellect to help manage things for all kinds of reasons.
Right.
Also, just getting along with coworkers.
Exactly. I was going to
Yeah,
say, yeah, they're going to be compatible, or at least, yeah, a good team kind of
yeah,
environment.
yeah.
Hmm.
I like to use humor, especially in corporate events where maybe the people aren't sure they want to be there. I'm distracting them with the funny while getting them to do the thing. Like I name my brushes. I use
Do you really?
yeah, I have
Okay,
we
share,
use three
please.
flat brushes and two round ones. And the flat brushes I named the Kardashians. The big one is Kim, middle one is Chloe, and the leftover is Courtney. And my round brushes are Sonny and Cher. The taller one with the Bob Mackie headdress, the fan brush, is
Oh
Cher, of course.
my.
And the little guy
Yes.
is Sonny. And I say, youngsters, just know he was a thing, and this is who I mean now.
Oh,
And
right, right.
so
That is fantastic. Okay, I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a class. I like that. I'm
Yes,
gonna have to take one of
please.
your classes. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Angel. This has been a
Yes.
joy. And so anybody who wants to reach out will do that. And are you also on Instagram in case
Yes.
a lot of them do?
Yep. ANJLKR is me on
KRF.
Instagram.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Perfect. That is good. All
Yes.
right. So thank you for being here. It has been such a
Yes.
joy and we will we will continue this at a future time.
Love.
Okay. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.